Welcome to Taipei. It's about 3 p.m., which means I have about 24 hours, and as you can see, my pocket's empty, no EDC. All I have is my wallet, which means hopefully we'll be able to explore the city and buy an entire everyday carry kit. Let's go. Approaching the first spot by bus, we'll tap to pay and getting off the bus. This is Guanghua Digital Plaza. It's one of the main computer/tech hubs in the city. 5 floors of businesses selling everything tech. But like most commerce hubs in Taipei, there are everyday carry options everywhere as well. Speed running up and down the escalators, lapping every floor, I saw a bunch of things but eventually found this shop that sells camera gear, camera bags, but also multi-tools, knives, and EDC accessories. I decided to start this kit's build with the key solution and picked up this mini keychain Opinel since it's always handy to have a blade, even a tiny compact one. And I mean, just look at it, it's adorable. Opinel, the OG French knife brand that's no-nonsense, budget-friendly, and iconic in its lines. And since it's on a basic keychain, I picked up this 2-pack of mini G-series beaners from Night Eyes as well. To test it out, I have my Airbnb keys pushed through both gates as the mainstay, and left the Opinel clipped only into the first gate so it's easy to completely detach if need be. Stop 1 done, and right next door to Guanghua Tech Market is a building called Sin Trend, a much newer and more modern 12-story technology and pop culture-centric mall. Look at this, check this out, peep this. Down the escalators, I could spend an entire day here. And oh my gosh, if I were a child, I'd go broke on just the car section of this one store alone. Can't get distracted though. We are on an EDC build out, so heading down to the second floor with some gaming-centric shops around the perimeter was this central zone with tons of bags and lifestyle wares. What really caught my eye was this pouch attached to this generic phone case. I'd never heard of BitPlay, a local Taiwanese company, and asking the clerks about the pouch, they got me a brand new one, and now that I've paid for it, let's take a look. This is a BitPlay magnetic mini pouch in their moss colorway. Before even opening it up, the hand feel is outstanding with this obviously water-resistant ripstop outer, and of course, on the back is an impossibly thin plate sewn right in. This means that it'll adhere so strongly to the back of my iPhone 17 as just one of its carry options. For storage, it's got 2 zipper compartments. The front one balloons out, and as you can see, with this outstanding zipper pull, opening it up, the storage is deceptively large, easily fitting my AirPods Pros and this portable pack of disposable soap sheets with room to spare. The other zipper compartment is an L opener, which means it won't flop open completely, making it much tougher for the contents to fall out. The convenience of the D-ring can't be overlooked either, and if you've been with me for a bit, you know I by default have an S-beater number 4 size permanently anchored to my EDC slings. So I can hang the pouch here for super rapid access as well instead of attaching it to my phone. And like everything else we'll see in this video, you can find the BitPlay magnetic mini pouch link down in the description below. Now, across from Sin Trend and Guanghua is the direct opposite vibe, a place called Huashan 1914 Creative Park, a winery originally built in 1914, which now converted to a quaint yet beautiful place to celebrate creativity and of course food and snack options as well. I mean, just look at these very cool locally made animal paper sculptures. Beyond that, there are multiple spaces that blend art installations and shopping, but for our EDC purposes, I found a hyper-local brand in the main bazaar hall called Daidash, specializing in bags, and although I already got the BitPlay pouch, I saw something that feels uniquely Taiwanese from a lifestyle perspective and decided to buy from this micro business and simultaneously show you something that's by default so different from what I'm used to in life in Canada. Scooters. I mean, scooters are freaking everywhere, and so are perhaps Taiwan's most well-known creation, bubble tea shops. And what happens when a huge percentage of the population consumes a ton of cupped takeout drinks but also commute with a scooter? An entire category of product is created, and this is called the Pickup by Daidash. It's a compact coin pouch which, as a shopkeeper demonstrated, can flip out when it's time to get a drink. Which means bubble tea money can stay in the zippered compartment, and when it's tea or coffee time, after payment, a fast flip around reveals the carry handles and open cup holder. Means that folks can hang their drinks from this hook, a hook that comes standard on literally every scooter from every manufacturer. Fun, right? However, instead of a scooter, Huashan 1914 is steps from Zhongshan Xingsen MRT station. And as a visitor, Taipei's impossibly efficient, clean, and robust MRT system is an incredible experience in and of itself. So we'll head down to take the MRT to the next shopping area, and it's funny, because it's easy to think of an everyday carry kit as a tools and accessories, but clothing is the base foundation of our everyday carry, and as I ride the 3 stops to the next area to explore, it's crazy for me to reflect on how it's officially been an even 10 years since I first discovered this segment sponsor, Unbound Merino, and backed their first crowdfunding campaign back in 2016, way before I even thought about starting this channel. And especially for travel, I can't overstate how much of a game changer, no, wait, life changer Unbound's been over the past full decade. High quality superfine merino like Unbound uses is soft against the skin, the opposite of what many might associate with wool. But most importantly for travel and enabling true light packing is both ridiculously odor resistant and naturally antimicrobial, which means countless travelers, including me, wear the exact same Unbound outfit for a week or 2 straight without needing to wash nor offending people's noses, which also means 2 bottoms and 3 tops is without exaggeration, all that's needed for a multi-month trip. My favorite piece, their Compact Travel Hoodie, remains simultaneously breathable on hot days, but is also tremendously warming when it gets cold, a miracle of nature. Which is why this ultra-thin packing travel hoodie is something I recommend everyone, especially travelers, consider. And best of all, Unbound's been kind enough to let me share a discount off your first order with them, and you can find that secret discount code down in the description below. Thank you so much to Unbound Merino for sponsoring this portion of the video. And as we approach Ximen Station, hopping out of exit 6, we are at the entrance of Ximending, the walking and shopping hub. An absolute maze of alleys and literally thousands of shops, but the first place I want to show you is the Wenyan building, originally built in 1973. It's got the central escalators going across its floors, where nowadays a huge portion of it is dedicated to toys, anime culture, and even an entire floor of just gachapon and claw machines to boot. However, tucked in a corner of the 4th floor is this shop. Army surplus, a ton of patches, flashlights, pocket knife offerings from major brands, and what I'm most fascinated by is that this tiny shop has by far the most comprehensive and widest in-person selection of both Victorinox and Leatherman products I've ever seen in one place. Talking to the owner, it was cool to learn that this tiny shop has been open for 30 years tucked in this tiny top floor corner unit. But I decided to grab a full-size Opinel number 8 size to complement that mini number 4 keyring. But this one in green, and for those who have never bought this classic French knife that Picasso himself used, unlike the non-locking slip joint of the number 4 keychain piece, their full-size knives from number 6s and up feature the twisting Viroblock ring for full lockout. But the owner and his wife were super knowledgeable, which is just so great to experience EDC shopping at a literal mom and pop shop. I made my way back down to the 1st floor to check out the abundant wristwatches, and it's here at a store called Years Watch that I found the next piece in this EDC kit build-out challenge. You see, I've always and still want a moon phase watch. Scrolling down and hopping over to the bucket list on my website, you can see that both the JLC Tribute Moon and the Longa 1 moon phase watches are both on there. But I don't have anywhere near the bank account balance for either of those yet, and so was pleasantly surprised to find this odd piece. And it's just wonderfully weird. It's got the case design language of a freaking Apple Watch, an equally modern font choice for the 12 o'clock marker, and yet has traditional looking subdials for both the day of the week over here and the date of the month on this side. And of course, the most traditional moon phase aperture that somehow manages to still look so right on such an otherwise modern piece. After trying it on and committing, they grabbed a new one from inventory, then resized the bracelet for me so it's ready to wear, and as you can see, baggied the extra links together too. However, I was happy to see that they also sold high quality cut to size FKM rubber straps. So I picked this green mosaic pattern one, measured up, took scissors to it, and now, yes, this is what I'm talking about. But continuing on, a 2-minute stroll away is RGH, one of the most EDC-centric storefronts in all of Taipei. First floor has got bags, torches, and multi-tools, while the second floor is Knife City, and holy crap, they've got everything. I saw something that's absolutely stupid for me to consider because it'd be illegal in Canada. So I decided to hum and haw while I walked around the store and went back downstairs and experienced again what I love so much about retail in Taiwan. The owner offered me a cup of tea as we just chatted about all things EDC, and I also remember that the kit's still missing a flashlight, and after looking at their offerings, went with the Nightcore TUP2. I mean, for a few years I've been using the Nightcore T4K as my main travel EDC flashlight, and although that T4K is still going strong despite the abuse, I just love the bright orange and smaller footprint in pocket of this TUP2. After paying, I went back upstairs to hang out with the knife nerds and played with a few other knives. All would be very illegal in Canada, but Taipei shopping is just so refreshing. No weird pressure to buy, employees who are so genuinely passionate about the stuff that's offered, the conversation, the deep product knowledge, and in the end, I decided to buy the knife anyways, from a brand I've never owned before. This is the Tiny Cass OTF by Terrain 365 with these lovely green topo scales. And to prevent the video from going way too long, if you're curious, I've shared a free video on my Patreon giving a closer look at this piece. But the action, the perfect amount of engineered resistance, both when deploying and retracting, and of course the ultra premium and arguably most corrosion resistant Vanax blade steel even available. Again, illegal in Canada, and I'm so sad this will have to stay with P here in Taiwan for safekeeping when I return to Toronto. But at least I've got an awesome compact EDC knife every time I come back to Taiwan. Regardless, Ximending is terrifying when it comes to shopping because of the sheer quantity and uniqueness. I mean, heading to a historic building called the Red House is yet another indoor bazaar featuring a ton of local brands. And as someone who's always really liked vintage looking robots, it took everything in me to not spend at this stall, where their team of craftspeople take old desktop computer boards, break them down, and create these simultaneously very cool yet freaking adorable vintage looking robots. And this is just one of literally thousands of examples of what shopping in this city has to offer. But with late afternoon approaching and dinner plans made, it was time to end part 1 of this 24-hour challenge, and with the magic of video editing, jump right to the next day. Welcome to day 2 at Songsan Cultural Park, which as you can see is just steps from Sun Yat-sen Memorial Hall and about a 10-minute walk away from the iconic Taipei 101. If you remember, yesterday's Huasan 1914 Park was an old winery, but Songsan Cultural Park is an old tobacco factory, now converted to a stunning and tranquil space to explore in the middle of dense Taipei. I love the centuries-old trees, I love the old factory architecture, I love the huge garden in the middle of the factory buildings, the long expansive hallways inside, the peaceful seating areas, the history lessons peppered throughout, the art and museum spaces. These are the real treat, while the cherry on top is the browsing and shopping available inside. So much fun stuff. I mean, look at this. Check this out. With Taiwan being quite earthquake prone, can't help but appreciate the humor in this. And just like Huasan, you'll find local homegrown brands across so many categories, like Unsimple, a leatherworks micro brand where even their leather is sourced from local tanneries and the quality of craftsmanship is undeniable. This is just such a peaceful place to dodge the dense urban sprawl of Taipei City. And part of the complex is the current largest location of Elite in all of Taiwan, Elite being a large bookstore chain. And typically when we think of big chain stores in general, we might not have high hopes, but Elite's Spectrum locations all put a strong focus on curating treasures from across Taiwan and around the world. And it's here where I was instantly drawn to the brand Entator, or rather drawn to this hilariously unimpressed face on this particular product line. I decided to get this super slim minimalist wallet with a zipper pouch for cash and coins and a total of 4 card slots, for those who may just typically carry their transit card, their ID, debit card, and credit card. It's got such a nice soft touch hand feel and this exterior wrist loop, plus they sell an optional longer strap option which I also bought and now in hand as you can see. Unclick to open the wrist loop, then attach the extension loop, adjust to the desired length, and around the neck it goes. But again, I was just drawn to this unimpressed facial expression and chose their dark green colorway for this build-out's wallet. And with all this stuff, especially for travel, a sling bag is useful and I found this very unique one by another local company called Dr. Wilds. And like the Entator wallet, the material here is also treated PPU and therefore is as water resistant as it gets, especially combined with the AquaGuard zippers. But for me, the uniqueness comes from its overall shape and storage design. It's got this L-shaped main cavernous compartment which selfishly can easily fit my Sony a6700 and extra lens. My mini travel tripod can fit down here, in this very tightly cinched elasticized cordage underneath for both quick access and freeing up space inside for less durable things. Beyond that, it's great to have essentially a large cup holder here, which means even if a leak or spill happens, nothing inside the main compartment gets wet. I brought the display model to the counter because it just felt really touched, and they brought a brand new one up, and after payment, I was out the door at around 2 o'clock. Which meant that there was just about an hour left before the clock ran out on this 24-hour challenge. Just barely enough time to find a pen and notebook at my favorite independent stationery shop in the city called Tools to Live By. Down this absolutely tiny narrow alley, out the other side then tucked beside a parquet. This shop doesn't even have an exterior sign, just this blank concrete facade, but just take a look inside. This place is so awesome, and in fact the stationery scene in Taipei might actually be my preference over even Tokyo. And I'm already thinking of a dedicated video of just the stationery scene here, so I won't give away too much. But as I finish payment and the clock rounds to 3, it's officially been 24 hours. So let's do a full EDC kit look and calculate the total cost, beginning with what I picked up at Tools to Live By. This gorgeous all-metal stubby drafting pen by Penco with a ridiculously smooth glide despite its 0.5mm tip, as well as Tools to Live By's own regular-sized traveler's notebook compatible inserts with this gorgeous cover art and incredibly high-quality binding. This is such an interesting full kit, some affordable pieces, some tremendously expensive, some from homegrown brands in Taiwan, and some from international companies. But the scariest part? Looking at the custom Google map with all the locations I hit, which by the way you can find the custom map linked in the description, pretty much everything was conveniently along just one of the many MRT subway lines spanning just central east to central west. I'm saying every corner of Taipei is served by their robust transit system, and every corner of Taipei has just as much selection, variety, density, but how much exactly did it all cost? With everything minus the OTF knife and minus the watch, it's 8,100 new Taiwan dollars, which is just about 250 USD. If we add the watch, it jumps up to about 380 USD. And adding by far the biggest ticket item, the Terrain 365 cast, we've shot all the way up to about 630 US dollars. That's right, the knife by itself costs exactly the same as all of this combined, which already has 2 blades in the loadout. But if this 24-hour challenge has taught me anything, it's that the shopping experience in Taiwan, whether it's a mom and pop shop, a big box retailer, or a stall in a bazaar, it's just so personable and enjoyable in its complete absence of pressure yet complete abundance of product knowledge and care. 11 out of 10 recommend this city. And speaking of the city, if you want to see the women's EDC travel kit I built for my mom when she came to join me for a few weeks here, you will definitely want to watch this video right up here. If, however, you want to see 24-hour tiny budget challenge in Tokyo, this video down here is the one for you. I'll leave them both on screen for a few seconds so you can choose which one to watch next, but while you're deciding, consider subscribing and hitting that bell so you'll be notified the moment new videos just like this one drops.